Something that I keep getting hit with lately is questions about my ontology. I've mostly been just ignoring this, but I think I should actually address it. I don't have one. I don't think it's reasonable to have an ontology. Because, I mean, fundamentally, what you're doing is you're asserting that this is how the world is, how the universe is, how things operate. And then once you have that established, once you have that asserted, you are justified to make all sorts of claims with respect to it. I don't know what's real. And I'm pretty confident that it's not possible to know what's real. But that doesn't have any bearing on the reality of real things. It doesn't have any bearing on the truth of true things. I mean, like beyond the the mere assumption I make that something must be real, I don't have an ontology. So stop asking. It's just a strange question, right? It's like asking, how long are your antlers? I don't have antlers. What are you asking me this weird question for? It's a very strange question to ask. And I think it ties into something that I've felt for a long time about uh, sort of mainstream majority philosophies, right? Certainly Western philosophies. That it's basically it's all about just arguing over which type of solipsism is best, right? If you're arguing over ontology, fundamentally, I think what's happening there is that you have a conception that there is a one true mind and that you have unique access to it, right? So this, most simplistically, this would pan out as a simple solipsism, right? The one true mind is your personal mind. But it could also be sort of a theistic thing, right? Where one true mind is God and you have some sort of access to it via divine revelation or something like that. Right? There's a few ways this could pan out, and those are just a couple of them. But I don't understand how you could espouse an ontology or anything about you could how you could have ontological um, claims and without also having this sort of a view. So anybody who's like coming at me about what you your ontology doesn't make sense or whatever, like whatever they're saying about it, complaining about my ontological views, I don't have any. I actively, specifically don't have any. I don't know anything about what's real. I'm not claiming to know anything about what's real. When I criticize things like science, I do my best to do it within the framework of its own framework, right? So, like, when I make fun of science for not actually allowing everyone to participate, despite claiming that it allows everyone to participate, the joke is that it's ironic. The joke is that it's not doing what it claims to do. That's what's happening. That's what the criticism is. There's no ontological claims required. There's no ontology required here. When you take the rules of some philosophical tradition and apply it back onto itself and it breaks, that's how you get to criticisms like my criticisms. Or at least that's what I'm trying to do. If I fail, hey, whatever. I'm sure I do plenty of the time. But, like when I say, oh, something is true or something is not true or whatever, it's not that I feel like I have access to, like, some higher knowledge or fucking whatever, however you want to phrase that shit. Like, I'm not making claims about how reality works, necessarily. I understand how it looks like I'm making claims about how reality works. But it's intended to be a criticism within the framework of the criticized subject. And that's it. That doesn't require ontology. And I feel like it's insane to espouse an ontology. Because how could you possibly know? How could you? How could you really know? That's the whole point. That's why mainstream Western philosophy is just a whole bunch of different versions of solipsism arguing amongst themselves about which is the best kind, which in itself is beautifully ironic in the Bertrand Russell sense of solipsistic irony. I don't know what more to say about this. The entire premise of an ontology seems insane to me.